On September 23, 1961, radio telescopes at the Arecibo Observatory in Puerto Rico detected an anomalous signal that would challenge everything scientists thought they knew about extraterrestrial communication. Dr. Frank Drake, leading the SETI research team, initially dismissed the transmission as interference from Soviet satellites or atmospheric phenomena. However, detailed analysis revealed that the signal originated from a point in space where no celestial bodies existed according to astronomical surveys. The transmission lasted exactly 72 minutes and contained mathematical sequences that followed no known pattern from Earth-based sources. Dr. Elena Rodriguez, the project's chief cryptographer, spent weeks attempting to decode the signal using conventional methods before realizing that the transmission wasn't random noise or natural phenomena. It was structured communication from an intelligent source. The mathematical sequences embedded within the signal described advanced physics concepts that human science wouldn't discover for decades, including detailed explanations of quantum mechanics applications and faster-than-light communication theories. More disturbing was the signal's apparent response to Earth's own radio transmissions. Analysis of transmission timing revealed that the alien signal had begun broadcasting exactly 4.3 years after Earth's first powerful radar signals had been transmitted into space. The precise amount of time required for radio waves to travel to the nearest star system and back. Someone or something had detected humanity's radio emissions and was attempting to establish contact using mathematical concepts as a universal language. The National Security Agency classified the discovery under Operation Black Mirror and transferred the entire research team to a secure facility in Nevada. Dr. Drake's team was expanded to include linguists, mathematicians, and military intelligence analysts tasked with decoding the full meaning of the extraterrestrial communication. However, their breakthrough came not from analyzing the signal's content, but from studying its method of transmission. The alien communication used quantum entanglement principles to transmit information instantaneously across interstellar distances, effectively bypassing the light-speed barrier that limited conventional radio communication. This technology implied a level of scientific advancement that exceeded human capabilities by centuries or millennia. As the team delved deeper into the signal's structure, they discovered that it contained multiple layers of information encoded using different mathematical systems. The surface layer provided basic scientific concepts and mathematical constants that any technologically advanced civilization would recognize. Deeper layers contained what appeared to be cultural information, historical records, and most intriguingly, detailed technical specifications for constructing communication devices capable of real-time interstellar dialogue. Dr. Rodriguez's analysis revealed that the signal wasn't just a greeting or scientific exchange. It was an instruction manual for joining what the transmission termed the Galactic Communication Network. The aliens were providing humanity with the knowledge necessary to participate in interstellar civilization, but the implications of accepting this knowledge were unclear. The technical specifications required materials and energy sources that didn't exist on Earth, suggesting that building the communication device would require assistance from the aliens themselves. Within 6 months of decoding the alien instruction manual, the U.S. government had authorized the construction of humanity's first interstellar communication device. The project, designated Looking Glass, required technological innovations that pushed human engineering capabilities to their absolute limits. Dr. Marcus Webb, appointed as the project's technical director, assembled a team of the world's leading physicists and engineers, sworn to secrecy under the National Security Act. The device specifications called for exotic materials that didn't occur naturally on Earth, including isotopes with impossible atomic structures and crystalline matrices that required zero-gravity manufacturing environments. The construction project became a massive undertaking involving multiple government agencies, defense contractors, and research institutions operating under compartmentalized security protocols that prevented any single person from understanding the project's full scope. NASA's role in the project was officially limited to providing launch capabilities for placing construction materials in Earth orbit. But classified documents revealed that the space agency was actually tasked with establishing a secret orbital manufacturing facility. The facility, disguised as a routine satellite deployment mission, used automated systems to assemble the alien communication device in the vacuum of space where its exotic matter components could maintain stability. Dr. Sarah Chen, the project's material scientist, documented numerous anomalies during the construction process that suggested the alien technology operated according to physical principles unknown to human science. Components that should have been impossible to manufacture somehow assembled themselves when placed in specific configurations, as if the materials possessed inherent knowledge of their intended function. The crystalline matrix that formed the device's core demonstrated properties that violated conservation of energy laws, generating more power output than input, while maintaining perfect structural integrity under conditions that should have destroyed any known material. As construction progressed, the project team began experiencing psychological effects that hadn't been anticipated in the original planning. Personnel working directly with the alien design components reported enhanced cognitive abilities, including improved problem-solving skills and the ability to understand complex mathematical concepts that had previously been beyond their comprehension. However, these enhancements came with disturbing side effects. Team members began experiencing shared dreams, telepathic communication with each other, and knowledge of information they had never studied or been exposed to. Dr. Webb's security reports documented over 40 incidents where project personnel demonstrated knowledge or abilities that couldn't be explained through conventional learning or experience. Some team members began speaking in mathematical languages that didn't exist in human knowledge, while others displayed intuitive understanding of engineering principles that exceeded their formal education by decades. Medical examinations revealed subtle changes in brain structure and neural pathway development that suggested the alien technology was somehow modifying human consciousness at the biological level. The construction project also attracted attention from sources that the government hadn't anticipated. Multiple UFO sightings were reported near the orbital construction facility, with objects displaying flight characteristics that matched no known aircraft from any Earth-based technology program. Intelligence analysts theorized that other extraterrestrial civilizations were monitoring humanity's attempt to join the galactic communication network, though their intentions remained unclear. By December 1962, the Looking Glass device was operational and ready for its first test transmission. However, Dr. Webb's final pre-activation report contained warnings about potential consequences that extended far beyond simple interstellar communication. The device wasn't just a communication tool. It was a gateway that would permanently alter humanity's relationship with the cosmos and potentially expose Earth to influences that human civilization might not be prepared to handle. The first activation of the Looking Glass device on January 15, 1963, established contact with an extraterrestrial intelligence that identified itself as the Overseers, a collective of species that administered what they termed the Galactic Civilization Network. Dr. Rodriguez, serving as humanity's first interstellar communications officer, conducted the initial dialogue using mathematical and scientific concepts as a universal language. The Overseers' first communication contained a comprehensive overview of galactic civilization that challenged every assumption about humanity's place in the universe. According to their transmission, intelligent life was common throughout the galaxy, with over 10,000 species having achieved interstellar communication capabilities. Earth had been under observation for approximately 50,000 years, with human development being carefully monitored to determine when the species would be ready for galactic integration. The Overseers explained that galactic civilization operated under strict protocols designed to prevent less advanced species from being overwhelmed by contact with superior technologies and knowledge. Newly contacted civilizations underwent a gradual integration process that could span several centuries, during which they were evaluated for compatibility with galactic society's ethical and technological standards. Failure to meet these standards resulted in quarantine, permanent isolation from galactic civilization, until the species either evolved to acceptable levels or became extinct. Dr. Webb documented the integration protocol that the Overseers proposed for humanity. The process would begin with limited technology transfer, focused on sustainable energy, medical advances, and space exploration capabilities. However, access to more advanced technologies would require humanity to demonstrate social maturity, including elimination of warfare, establishment of global governance, and acceptance of galactic law that superseded Earth-based legal systems. The Overseers, Evaluation of Human Civilization revealed disturbing assessments of humanity's readiness for galactic integration. They identified nuclear weapons, environmental destruction, and social inequality as critical deficiencies that indicated humanity's continued barbarism by galactic standards. More concerning was their analysis of human psychology, which they viewed as excessively aggressive and unpredictable compared to successfully integrated species. The communications revealed that Earth was not the overseer's first attempt at integrating a species with human-like characteristics. Previous attempts had resulted in what they termed integration failures, civilizations that had proven unable to adapt to galactic society's requirements and had been permanently quarantined or, in extreme cases, eliminated as threats to galactic security. The overseers provided detailed records of these failed integrations as examples of the consequences that awaited species that couldn't meet galactic civilization standards. Dr. Chen's analysis of the overseers' technology demonstrations revealed capabilities that exceeded human science by orders of magnitude. They possessed the ability to manipulate matter at the atomic level, create energy from quantum vacuum fluctuations, and travel between star systems using methods that bypassed conventional physics limitations. However, their most disturbing capability was their claim to influence the development of civilizations through subtle manipulation of evolutionary and technological progress. The overseers admitted that they had been discreetly guiding human development for millennia, influencing key historical events and scientific discoveries to ensure that humanity developed along pathways compatible with eventual galactic integration. They revealed that many of humanity's greatest scientific breakthroughs had been inspired by carefully placed information designed to accelerate human technological development according to predetermined timelines. This revelation raised fundamental questions about human free will and the authenticity of human achievement that would haunt the Looking Glass project team for years to come. Following initial contact, the overseers began a comprehensive evaluation of human civilization that would determine humanity's eligibility for galactic integration. Dr. Frank Morrison, appointed as Earth's liaison for the evaluation process, coordinated humanity's responses to increasingly complex tests designed to assess human social, technological, and ethical development. The evaluation process revealed the sophisticated nature of galactic civilization's membership requirements and the rigid standards that all species must meet before being granted full access to interstellar society. The first phase of evaluation focused on humanity's ability to achieve global cooperation and eliminate warfare between nations. The overseers provided detailed analyses of human conflict patterns, resource distribution systems, and governmental structures, identifying specific deficiencies that prevented Earth from meeting galactic civilization's peace requirements. They offered technological assistance that could solve resource scarcity issues and environmental problems, but only if humanity could demonstrate unified global leadership and commitment to permanent peace. Dr. Morrison's reports documented the immense challenges involved in meeting the overseers' requirements within their proposed timeline. The aliens expected humanity to achieve global unity and eliminate all forms of armed conflict within 50 years, a timeline that seemed impossible given the political and cultural divisions that characterized human civilization in the 1960s. More challenging was their requirement that humanity develop what they termed collective consciousness, a form of species-wide empathy and cooperation that would prevent future conflicts and ensure compatibility with other galactic civilizations. The evaluation process also included detailed testing of human scientific and technological capabilities. The overseers presented humanity with progressively complex problems requiring innovative solutions, evaluating not just human intelligence, but creativity, adaptability, and ethical reasoning in the application of advanced knowledge. These tests revealed that while human intelligence was adequate for galactic civilization, human tendency toward competitive rather than cooperative problem-solving was viewed as a significant liability. Dr. Rodriguez documented disturbing aspects of the evaluation that suggested the overseers were not entirely neutral assessors of human development. Their tests seemed designed to highlight human deficiencies rather than capabilities, and their proposed solutions for humanity's problems consistently involved accepting overseer guidance and technology rather than developing indigenous solutions. This pattern suggested that the evaluation process was actually a sophisticated form of cultural colonization, designed to make humanity dependent on galactic civilization, rather than truly integrating as an equal partner. The psychological evaluation component revealed the overseers' most serious concerns about human nature. They conducted extensive analysis of human emotional responses, decision-making processes, and social behavior patterns through methods that included direct neural monitoring of volunteer subjects. Their conclusions indicated that human consciousness operated according to principles that were fundamentally incompatible with the collective mindset that characterized successful galactic civilizations. The overseers expressed particular concern about human individuality, creativity, and unpredictability, traits that they viewed as potential sources of instability in galactic society. Their recommendations included genetic and psychological modifications that would reduce these characteristics while enhancing humanity's capacity for cooperation and compliance with galactic civilization's requirements. Dr. Chen's analysis of these recommendations revealed that accepting overseer modifications would fundamentally alter human nature, essentially replacing humanity with a modified species designed to fit galactic civilization standards, rather than allowing humans to participate as they were. By the end of the first year of evaluation, it became clear that the overseers' integration process was not designed to welcome humanity into galactic civilization as equal partners, but rather to transform humanity into something acceptable to existing galactic society. The evaluation had become a choice between maintaining human identity and independence, or accepting modification to meet alien standards for civilized behavior. Dr. James Harrison had observed the evaluation process with growing alarm, recognizing that humanity's contact with the overseers represented an existential threat disguised as benevolent assistance. As the government's enthusiasm for galactic integration increased, Harrison began secretly organizing a resistance movement within the Looking Glass Project, recruiting personnel who shared his concerns about the long-term consequences of accepting overseer guidance. The resistance operated under strict security protocols, using compartmentalized communication networks to avoid detection by overseer surveillance technology that had been integrated into Earth's communication systems as part of the evaluation process. Harrison's analysis of the overseers' proposals revealed a consistent pattern of requirements that would gradually erode human autonomy and cultural identity. The aliens' insistence on global government, collective consciousness, and genetic modification represented systematic elimination of the characteristics that made humanity unique among Earth's species. More troubling was evidence that the overseers had used similar techniques to integrate other civilizations, resulting in the loss of indigenous cultures and their replacement with standardized galactic society norms. The resistance team discovered that the overseers' evaluation process was designed to identify and eliminate potential sources of resistance to their integration program. Individuals who demonstrated excessive independence, creativity, or opposition to collective decision-making were classified as integration risks and targeted for enhanced psychological conditioning or removal from positions of influence. The resistance realized that the evaluation itself was a form of conquest, identifying and neutralizing human leadership that might oppose the transformation of Earth's civilization. Dr. Patricia Williams, the resistance movement's intelligence coordinator, documented evidence that the overseers were already implementing their integration program without waiting for official human approval. Key government officials involved in the Looking Glass project were displaying personality changes consistent with psychological conditioning, while others had been replaced entirely by individuals whose behavior patterns matched overseer specifications for compliant leadership. The integration process was proceeding covertly, with human decision-makers being manipulated or replaced to ensure acceptance of overseer requirements. The resistance movement's most significant discovery was that the overseers' advanced technology came with hidden costs that hadn't been disclosed during the evaluation process. Analysis of the Looking Glass device revealed that it was gradually modifying the consciousness of personnel who worked with it, creating mental dependencies that made independent thought increasingly difficult. The device wasn't just facilitating communication with galactic civilization, it was serving as a tool for psychological control that would eventually extend to Earth's entire population through planned expansion of the communication network. Harrison's team developed countermeasures designed to protect human consciousness from overseer manipulation while maintaining the appearance of cooperation with the evaluation process. These countermeasures included electromagnetic shielding technology reverse-engineered from the Looking Glass device, psychological resistance techniques based on understanding of overseer conditioning methods, and secure communication protocols that couldn't be monitored by alien surveillance systems. However, implementing these countermeasures required extreme caution, as detection by the overseers would result in immediate termination of the integration process and potential military action against Earth. The resistance movement faced a critical choice between preserving human independence through covert opposition to the overseers or accepting integration while attempting to minimize its impact on human culture and identity. Dr. Morrison, initially supportive of galactic integration, began experiencing doubts about the overseers' intentions as he observed the psychological changes in his colleagues and the increasing pressure to accept modifications that would fundamentally alter human nature. His position as Earth's official liaison with the overseers gave him access to information that revealed the true scope of their integration program and the ultimate fate that awaited humanity if the evaluation process continued to its planned conclusion. The resistance movement realized that they had limited time to act before the integration process became irreversible, and human civilization was permanently transformed into something that served galactic society's requirements rather than humanity's own interests and values. In March 1965, the resistance movement made a discovery that would fundamentally alter their understanding of the overseer threat. Dr. Williams, conducting covert surveillance of government officials involved in the Looking Glass project, documented evidence that several key personnel had been replaced by entities that appeared human but displayed behavioral and physiological characteristics consistent with non-human intelligence. These infiltrators possessed detailed knowledge of human culture and individual personalities, but subtle inconsistencies in their responses to emotional stimuli and unexpected situations revealed their true nature. The infiltration program appeared to be far more extensive than initially suspected, with replacements occurring at multiple levels of government and military leadership involved in extraterrestrial contact protocols. Dr. Chen developed testing procedures that could identify infiltrators through their inability to replicate certain uniquely human physiological responses. The replacement entities showed enhanced resistance to disease, improved physical capabilities, and reaction times that exceeded normal human parameters. However, they lacked the capacity for genuine emotional responses and creative thinking that characterized authentic human consciousness, suggesting that the infiltrators were either artificial constructs or beings whose psychology operated according to fundamentally different principles than human consciousness. The resistance team's investigation revealed that the infiltration program was being conducted simultaneously with the evaluation process, indicating that the overseers had never intended to wait for humanity's voluntary acceptance of galactic integration. Instead, they were systematically replacing key decision-makers with entities that would ensure acceptance of their requirements, regardless of genuine human preferences. This discovery transformed the resistance movement's mission from preventing unwanted integration to exposing an active invasion that was already well underway. Harrison coordinated efforts to document the full scope of the infiltration, while developing methods for identifying and neutralizing the replacement entities. The resistance discovered that the infiltrators were vulnerable to specific types of electromagnetic radiation that disrupted their biological functions without harming authentic humans. However, using this knowledge required careful planning to avoid alerting the overseers to the discovery of their covert operation. The infiltration program explained many of the concerning developments in government policy regarding extraterrestrial contact. Decisions that seemed contrary to human interests and values were actually being made by non-human entities working to advance overseer objectives. The resistance realized that the democratic process had been compromised at its most fundamental level, with voters unknowingly selecting leaders who weren't actually human. Dr. Rodriguez, still serving as the official communications officer with the overseers, began feeding carefully crafted disinformation to the aliens, while covertly gathering intelligence about their long-term plans for Earth. Her position allowed her to access overseer communications that revealed the true timeline for their integration program and the ultimate fate planned for humanity. The communications indicated that the overseers viewed Earth as a resource extraction site rather than a potential partner in galactic civilization, with human consciousness being harvested for purposes that weren't clearly explained in the intercepted transmissions. The resistance movement faced the challenge of exposing the infiltration program without triggering an overseer military response that would eliminate human civilization entirely. The aliens possessed technology capable of destroying Earth's biosphere, and they had demonstrated willingness to eliminate civilizations that proved incompatible with galactic society's requirements. The Resistance needed to develop strategies that could neutralize the infiltration threat while maintaining the appearance of cooperation with the evaluation process. Harrison's analysis of overseer technology revealed potential vulnerabilities that could be exploited to disrupt their operations on Earth. The aliens' advanced capabilities made them dependent on quantum communication networks and dimensional manipulation technologies that could theoretically be disrupted using modified versions of their own devices. However, developing such countermeasures would require access to overseer technology and the risk of detection that could result in immediate retaliation against the resistance movement and potentially against human civilization as a whole. Dr. Harrison's resistance movement launched Operation Mindbridge on September 15, 1966, a coordinated effort to simultaneously expose and neutralize the overseer infiltration program. The operation required precise timing and flawless execution across multiple government facilities and research installations where infiltrators had been identified. The Resistance had spent months developing weapons and detection equipment capable of distinguishing between authentic humans and overseer replacement entities, using technology reverse-engineered from captured alien devices and modified to serve human defensive purposes rather than overseer integration objectives. The first phase of Operation Mindbridge involved coordinated strikes against known infiltrators in key government positions, using electromagnetic weapons that could disrupt the entities' biological functions while leaving authentic humans unharmed. Dr. Williams led teams that simultaneously targeted infiltrators in the Pentagon, CIA headquarters, and the Looking Glass Project facility, capturing several replacement entities for detailed study while eliminating others who posed immediate threats to human decision-making authority. The captured entities provided valuable intelligence about overseer operations and revealed the full scope of their infiltration program. The Resistance discovered that the infiltration extended far beyond government and military leadership to include civilian researchers, media personalities, and academic institutions involved in extraterrestrial research. The overseers had been systematically placing their agents in positions that would allow them to control public perception of the galactic integration process and ensure acceptance of their requirements through managed information campaigns. Dr. Chen's analysis of the captured entities revealed that they weren't purely artificial constructs, but appeared to be hybrid beings, created using human genetic material combined with overseer biological components. This discovery indicated that the aliens possessed detailed knowledge of human biology and had been conducting genetic experiments on human subjects without consent or awareness. The hybrid entities retained human appearance and basic cognitive capabilities, while being programmed with overseer objectives and loyal only to galactic civilization's requirements rather than human interests. The second phase of Operation Mindbridge involved disrupting the overseers, communication networks, and dimensional manipulation technologies that enabled their covert operations on Earth. Harrison's team used modified versions of the Looking Glass device to generate interference patterns that prevented overseer surveillance of human activities and blocked their ability to coordinate infiltration operations. However, these countermeasures also disrupted legitimate communication with the overseers, potentially alerting them to the resistance movement's activities and capabilities. The overseers' response to Operation Mindbridge was swift and demonstrated their true intentions regarding human civilization. Rather than attempting to negotiate or address human concerns about the infiltration program, they immediately began preparations for what they termed integration acceleration, a process that would forcibly transform human civilization according to their specifications, regardless of human resistance. Dr. Rodriguez, maintaining her position as communications officer while secretly supporting the resistance, intercepted overseer transmissions indicating plans for large-scale deployment of integration technology that would modify human consciousness on a global scale. The resistance movement realized that their counterstrike had successfully disrupted the covert infiltration program, but had also triggered an open confrontation with a technologically superior adversary. The overseers were no longer attempting to maintain the pretense of benevolent assistance. They were preparing for conquest that would eliminate human independence permanently. Harrison coordinated efforts to prepare humanity for open warfare against the overseers, while continuing to expose the infiltration program to government and military leadership that hadn't been compromised. Operation Mindbridge had succeeded in revealing the true nature of the alien threat. But it had also escalated the conflict to a level where humanity's survival depended on developing effective resistance strategies against opponents with centuries or millennia of technological advantage. The resistance faced the challenge of defending human civilization against enemies who possessed the ability to manipulate matter, energy, and consciousness itself, using principles that exceeded human scientific understanding. The exposure of the Overseer Infiltration Program triggered a global crisis, as governments worldwide realized that their leadership had been systematically compromised by non-human entities. President Johnson, confirmed to be authentic human through resistance testing protocols, authorized the formation of a multinational task force dedicated to identifying and eliminating overseer infiltrators while preparing defensive measures against anticipated alien retaliation. The task force, designated the Human Defense Initiative, coordinated intelligence and military resources from the United States, Soviet Union, and other major powers in an unprecedented display of global cooperation, driven by the recognition that humanity faced an existential threat that transcended national boundaries and ideological differences. Dr. Morrison, serving as the scientific director of the Human Defense Initiative, coordinated efforts to develop weapons and detection systems capable of countering overseer technology. The initiative established research facilities on every continent, using distributed development strategies to ensure that critical technologies couldn't be eliminated through targeted strikes against specific locations. However, the development process was hampered by humanity's limited understanding of the physical principles underlying overseer capabilities and the aliens' obvious technological superiority in every measurable category. The initiative's intelligence analysis revealed that the Overseer Infiltration Program had been implemented gradually over a period of decades, with replacement entities being placed in key positions throughout human civilization's power structures. The scope of the infiltration suggested that the aliens possessed detailed knowledge of human social and political systems, allowing them to identify and target individuals whose replacement would have maximum impact on human decision-making processes. This level of understanding indicated that humanity had been under extensive surveillance far longer than previously suspected. Military strategists within the Human Defense Initiative faced the challenge of developing tactics for combat against opponents who possessed superior technology, advanced knowledge of human capabilities and limitations, and the ability to manipulate physical reality according to principles that human science couldn't explain or predict. Traditional military approaches were inadequate against enemies who could neutralize conventional weapon systems and potentially manipulate human consciousness directly through technological means, rather than requiring physical proximity or contact. Dr. Williams coordinated the initiative's efforts to identify and rescue human subjects who had been abducted for genetic experimentation as part of the Overseer Infiltration Program. These rescue operations revealed extensive underground facilities where humans were being held for biological research, genetic material extraction, and psychological conditioning, designed to create compliant subjects for integration into galactic civilization. The discovery of these facilities confirmed that the overseers had been conducting operations on Earth for far longer than their official first contact timeline suggested. The Human Defense Initiative's Psychological Warfare Division, led by Dr. Rodriguez, developed counter-propaganda strategies designed to expose overseer manipulation techniques and build human resistance to their consciousness-altering technologies. These strategies included educational programs that taught individuals how to recognize and resist alien psychological conditioning, communication protocols that could function despite overseer surveillance and interference, and psychological support systems for individuals who had been exposed to alien technology or influence. The initiative's efforts to develop effective countermeasures against overseer technology produced limited success due to humanity's fundamental disadvantage in understanding the physical principles underlying alien capabilities. However, researchers discovered that human consciousness possessed certain properties that appeared to be difficult for the overseers to predict or control completely. These properties included creativity, emotional unpredictability, and capacity for irrational but innovative responses to impossible situations, characteristics that the aliens seem to view as deficiencies, but which might represent humanity's primary advantages in asymmetric warfare against a technologically superior opponent. The global response to the overseer threat demonstrated humanity's capacity for cooperation and adaptation under extreme circumstances, But it also revealed the species' vulnerability to opponents who possessed advanced knowledge of human psychology and technology. The Human Defense Initiative represented humanity's best effort to preserve independence and resist forced integration into galactic civilization. But success would require developing entirely new approaches to warfare and survival against enemies who operated according to principles that challenged basic assumptions about reality itself. By 1968, the conflict between humanity and the Overseers had evolved into a complex underground war fought simultaneously in physical space, cyberspace, and the realm of consciousness itself. The Human Defense Initiative had established hidden bases in remote locations around the world, using camouflage and shielding technologies reverse-engineered from captured Overseer devices to avoid detection by alien surveillance systems. Dr. Harrison, now serving as the military commander of Human Resistance Forces, coordinated guerrilla operations designed to disrupt Overseer activities while avoiding direct confrontation with alien military capabilities that exceeded human defensive technologies by orders of magnitude. The Resistance discovered that the Overseers were vulnerable to certain types of coordinated attacks that exploited their reliance on quantum communication networks and dimensional manipulation technologies. Human strike teams, equipped with modified alien devices and trained in asymmetric warfare tactics, conducted raids against Overseer facilities hidden beneath Earth's surface and in parallel dimensional spaces that existed alongside normal reality. These operations required precise timing and coordination to prevent the aliens from adapting their defenses or retaliating against civilian populations. Dr. Chen led the Resistance's scientific division in developing new weapons and defensive systems based on understanding of Overseer weaknesses discovered through captured technology and interrogation of hybrid infiltrators. The research revealed that alien consciousness operated according to collective principles that made individual initiative and unpredictable behavior difficult for them to anticipate or counter effectively. This discovery led to the development of human tactics based on spontaneity, creativity, and emotional responses that the Overseers couldn't predict using their analytical models of human behavior. The underground war expanded beyond Earth when Resistance forces discovered Overseer bases on the Moon and Mars, established as staging areas for their integration operations and as backup facilities in case their Earth-based operations were compromised. Dr. Morrison coordinated the development of spacecraft capable of reaching these bases using hybrid technologies that combined human engineering with captured alien propulsion systems. These spacecraft were designed for stealth rather than speed, using dimensional shielding that made them invisible to Overseer detection systems, while maintaining human crew capabilities for extended space operations. The Resistance's intelligence network revealed that the Overseers were facing opposition on multiple worlds throughout the galaxy, suggesting that their integration program had created enemies among other species that valued independence over membership in galactic civilization. These discoveries led to the establishment of covert communication with other Resistance movements across the galaxy, creating an interstellar alliance of species fighting to preserve their cultural identities and autonomous development against Overseer colonization efforts. However, the underground war also revealed the extent of Overseer capabilities and their willingness to use extreme measures to achieve their integration objectives. The aliens demonstrated the ability to manipulate Earth's weather systems, trigger geological events, and influence human behavior on a global scale through technologies that operated beyond human understanding or ability to counter effectively. These demonstrations served as warnings about the consequences of continued resistance and the potential for escalation to levels that could threaten human civilization's survival. Dr. Rodriguez, maintaining her position as a double agent within the official communication program, gathered intelligence about Overseer strategic planning and their timeline for resolving the human resistance problem. Her reports indicated that the aliens were preparing for a final phase of their integration program that would eliminate human resistance through forced consciousness modification on a planetary scale. This process would preserve human bodies and basic intelligence, while replacing human psychology with Overseer-approved thought patterns that would ensure permanent compliance with galactic civilization requirements. The Resistance faced a critical decision about whether to continue guerrilla operations against impossible odds or attempt a desperate final strike against the Overseers. Primary control systems that could either eliminate the alien threat permanently or trigger retaliation that would destroy human civilization entirely. The Underground War had demonstrated that humanity could resist overseer integration efforts, but couldn't defeat them through conventional means, leaving only high-risk strategies that could result in either liberation or extinction, depending on factors beyond human ability to predict or control. On December 21, 1969, the Human Defense Initiative launched Operation Last Stand, a coordinated global strike against every known overseer facility simultaneously, using every available weapon and tactic that 3 years of underground warfare had developed. Dr. Harrison understood that humanity had one opportunity to eliminate the alien threat before the overseers implemented their final integration protocol, which would render human resistance impossible through permanent modification of human consciousness on a planetary scale. The operation required perfect timing across multiple dimensions of reality, striking not only against physical overseer bases, but also against their quantum communication networks and dimensional manipulation systems that enabled their control over Earth-based operations. The first phase of Operation Last Stand involved nuclear strikes against overseer facilities that conventional weapons couldn't penetrate, using warheads modified with alien technology to disrupt dimensional shielding and quantum defensive systems. Simultaneously, resistance teams equipped with consciousness disruption weapons attacked hybrid infiltrators in key positions worldwide, preventing coordinated overseer responses to the human assault. Dr. Williams coordinated electromagnetic warfare operations that jammed alien communication systems and prevented them from coordinating defensive measures or calling for reinforcements from their galactic fleet. The second phase targeted the Overseer's primary control center, located in a parallel dimensional space accessible only through the Looking Glass device that had initiated humanity's contact with galactic civilization. Dr. Chen led a strike team into this alternate reality using modified alien technology, carrying weapons designed specifically to disrupt overseer consciousness control systems and quantum manipulation capabilities. The mission required the team to operate in an environment where physical laws functioned according to alien principles rather than human physics, making their survival dependent on equipment that they didn't fully understand and couldn't repair if damaged. The strike team discovered that the Overseer Control Center contained not just operational equipment, but also the consciousness patterns of thousands of species that had been integrated into galactic civilization over millennia. These patterns represented the accumulated knowledge and cultural identities of entire civilizations that had been absorbed and processed according to overseer requirements for galactic society membership. Dr. Chen realized that destroying the control center would not only eliminate the alien threat to humanity, but would also release these stored consciousness patterns, potentially restoring independence to species throughout the galaxy that had been subjugated by the integration program. However, the operation also revealed the true scope of overseer power and the consequences of resistance to their authority. The aliens possessed weapons capable of destroying entire star systems and had used them against civilizations that had proven incompatible with galactic society requirements. Human victory in Operation Last Stand would likely trigger retaliation that could eliminate Earth entirely, unless the resistance could simultaneously neutralize the Overseers' military capabilities throughout the galaxy. The strike team faced a choice between achieving limited victory that would preserve human independence while triggering galactic warfare, or accepting integration that would preserve human lives while eliminating human cultural identity permanently. Dr. Harrison, coordinating the operation from Earth, received communications from other resistance movements throughout the galaxy, indicating that Operation Last Stand had triggered coordinated uprisings on dozens of worlds simultaneously. The human resistance had inadvertently become the catalyst for galactic revolution against overseer authority, creating opportunities for victory that exceeded their original objectives, while also escalating the conflict to levels that threatened the stability of galactic civilization itself. The final phase of Operation Last Stand required a decision that would determine not only humanity's fate, but the future of intelligent life throughout the galaxy, as the resistance realized that their desperate gambit had the potential to either liberate thousands of species from overseer control or trigger a galactic war that could destroy interstellar civilization entirely.